All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your patience. Now, so LeBron has two go-to moves when it comes to scoring. All right. He drives the basket for layups, dunks, and alley-oops, and he takes and settles for three-point bombs. My complaint about LeBron for years has been with his size and strength and skill set. Why doesn't he post up more? Why doesn't he develop a mid-range fadeaway, something like Kobe did, like Mike did? Mike and Kobe, one of the reasons why they were unstoppable was because they both developed solid post games and mid-range fadeaways. Mike started it and then Kobe copied it. But they both developed those parts of their offense that made them virtually unstoppable on offense. Whenever their team needed a basket, Mike and Kobe could deliver just about every single time because of those go-to moves. And when they weren't posting you up and scoring, and when they weren't fading away over you and scoring, they could drive to the basket and they would score either two ways. And Michael Jordan was uncanny at this. He was like mutant-like when it came to this. He would either score on you with a fadeaway or a drive to the basket. He would either get fouled trying to do so, go to the free throw line, and most times, about 84 to 87% of the times, would knock down those free throws. Or three, they would score and get fouled and then go to the free throw line and knock down the shot and get an and one and get a three-point play. They did that all the time and made the other team and defenders miserable. LeBron has never perfected that part of his offense. I mean, he can do it on occasion. Every once in a while, you'll see him maybe try to post somebody up. And against Toronto last year, I've only seen this against Toronto, by the way. I don't know what it was about Kyle Lowry and Toronto that he did this. But during that series last year against Toronto, he did use the mid-range fadeaway to score on these guys. I haven't really seen it since. And so when it comes to scoring, he settles for drives to the basket or three-point bombs, and that's it. Plus, because he's, for his career, 74% from the free throw line and has dropped to 61% as of yesterday, he does not trust himself at the free throw line. So as a result, he shies away from driving to the basket and would rather pass to somebody else because he doesn't trust himself at the free throw line. This is one of the reasons why he is not a closer. Okay? He's not a true closer. Even though he can score, he's not a true closer. Some people would argue that point. But it's for those reasons why he's not a closer. Because in order to be a closer, you have to have confidence at the free throw line. You have to know that you can go to the free throw line and knock down those free throws. You need to have a good post-up game, and you need to have a good mid-range game in order to be a true effective closer. LeBron James has never really perfected a good post game, nor has he ever perfected a good mid-range game. It's either bulldoze to the rim and dunk, layup, or alley-oop, or take three-point bombs. Doing that does not make you an effective closer. All right? And so that's being exposed. The fact that he is not a closer. Now, speaking of being a closer, we've talked about, as far as basketball analysts, they've talked about closers and they've talked about alpha dog leaders. LeBron James is an alpha dog leader. He's not a true closer. On the other hand, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are proven closers. They're not alpha dog leaders. Okay? Which is the reason why neither Kevin Durant nor Kyrie Irving needs to be going to New York. Are you kidding me? That would be insanity for either one of them to go to New York, unless they were to go with someone else that could absorb the media attention and interviews. Without being in New York with a LeBron James or a Steph Curry, neither one of those guys ought to dare go to New York. I mean, especially if they're not doing too well. Can you imagine either Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant with the cameras blaring, with a microphone in their hand, in their face, trying to explain why the Knicks ain't doing so well? I mean, try and imagine that. Picture that. Have you seen Kyrie trying to explain himself in Boston? Have you seen Kevin Durant trying to explain himself in Golden State? I mean, these guys might just set off a bomb or start shooting people if they have to spend much time in front of the cameras trying to explain disappointing losses in New York. I mean, give me a break. Don't you dare, KD. Don't you dare go to New York. Kyrie, don't you dare go to New York. Y'all need to stay where you are. And Kevin Durant, you need to stay in Golden State. And Kyrie, if you're not going to stay in Boston, you need to go somewhere else. Don't you dare go to New York. Please. Are you kidding me? The media will eat y'all alive. You'll be somewhere balled up in a fetus position, sucking your thumb. Don't do it. Please don't do it. But anyway, LeBron James is an alpha dog, but he's not a scorer. So this brings me to the third thing that's being exposed. The third thing that Hollywood is exposing with LeBron and the Lakers is the need for a LeBron James system. LeBron James needs his own system. He does not blend into a system. He is the system. When he went to Miami, a system was put in place for him. When he went back to Cleveland, a system was put in place for him. Going to LA, that system wasn't put in place. Let me explain what the system consists of. The LeBron James system consists of himself as the facilitator and the alpha dog. All right? He's the facilitator and alpha dog. All right? Number two, the LeBron James system consists of a closer. He's not the closer. he needs a second guy to do the closing for him. When he went to Miami, that player was Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was the established, proven closer in Miami. Okay. The other part, the third part of the LeBron James system is a stretch four that can occasionally post up and score in the paint and play some defense and rebound. All right. That was Chris Bosh in Miami. That became Kevin Love in Cleveland. Okay. If you went after Anthony Davis and LA gets Anthony Davis would serve and play the role of that stretch four. I'm not saying that's all Anthony Davis would want to do. Anthony Davis can do more than that. But that's the role he would play in Los Angeles as a Laker. He would play the role of a stretch four and the guy who occasionally defends in the paint and grabs rebounds. Okay? That would be Anthony Davis' role if you were to get him. Okay? Anthony Davis ain't a closer either. Okay? You heard that from me first. I could be wrong. But that's the reason why the Pelicans have not been as successful and have won more games with Anthony Davis than they have. Because as great as Anthony Davis is, and he's a great talent, he's not an alpha dog leader, and Anthony Davis is not a closer. And that's not the role he would play in a LeBron James system. He would be utilized as a stretch four because I think he can knock down threes, an outside shooter, and someone who would rebound and help defend in the paint. All right. If you brought Anthony Davis to LA, he would be that stretch four. But he's not a closer. He's not an alpha dog. Because he's not an alpha dog, he would play well alongside LeBron. Because LeBron would play the role of the alpha dog facilitator, while AD would play the role of the stretch four, defender, rebounder, and whatnot. But because he's not a closer, if LA would have been able to pull off an Anthony Davis trade this by the trade deadline, the Lakers would still be struggling because they would have emptied half their team to get him. And he's not a closer. They would still be lacking that closer, hoping they could land him during the offseason. Okay, so that's number one. That's number three. The fourth thing the LeBron James system requires are perimeter shooters. Guys that can stand around the three-point line, wait for LeBron James to drive the lane, kick it to him, or post up occasionally and kick it to him so they can knock down threes. Okay, that's the LeBron James system. That's what he was able to establish in Miami. That's what he was able to establish in going back to Cleveland. Magic and Pelinka did not do that in LA. Instead, LeBron and Magic figured all they needed was some tough guys who could handle the ball and probably provide a little grit and defense. Didn't surround them with any shooters. Okay? So all of that's being exposed. The fact that the LeBron James system was not established by the Lakers front office. Okay? They didn't get that done. So LeBron James came to LA, started playing without his system in place. Okay? And LeBron James without his system is almost like Tony Stark without his armor. Just saying. Okay? Let me give me a drink of this grape juice. All right. So we don't have the LeBron James system in place. Number 4. The fourth thing that's been exposed by Hollywood, with LeBron being in LA, is the fact that he's 34 years old. He ain't getting any younger. He's getting older. And all of a sudden, he's no longer Iron Man. Tony Stark somehow done lost his armor. He already doesn't have the LeBron James system in place. And now he's no longer Iron Man. Let me remind you that before he got hurt, even though he did not have the LeBron James system in place, before he got hurt, the Lakers were number 4 in the West. The Lakers was playing well. You remember Christmas Day when they beat Golden State and he went down with the groin injury? I was fantasizing with the way the Lakers were gelling and coming together. I was fantasizing that we could possibly, if we pray hard enough, possibly see LeBron James and the Lakers versus Kyrie Irving and the Celtics in the finals. Wow! What would that have been like? Can you imagine that? The ratings would have been off the charts. I mean, everybody and their mama would have tuned in to watch that series. Can you imagine? I mean, you will almost have an orgasm just thinking about it. And you know, some of you all listen to me saying, orgasm, ain't that sex related? I mean, do reverends have orgasms? Really? Really? Like a pastor and preacher don't have sex. I mean, come on, y'all. But anyway, I digress. Imagine that. LeBron versus Kyrie, Lakers, Celtics in the finals. Oh, man. I almost passed out at the fantasy. And the Lakers were playing well enough where you could at least dream a little bit. But then LeBron gets hurt. Misses 18 games. Nobody saw that coming. Absolutely nobody. That never happened in Miami. That never happened in Cleveland. So Magic, the Lakers, LeBron, me, everybody just assumed he was just going to continue the trend in LA. And then all of a sudden he goes to LA and boom, a groin injury that causes him to miss 18 games. Who saw that coming? So, and it would be one thing if LeBron were 24 and that happened. He's 34. 34. You think it's going to get better? That's a sign of things to come. Now, on top of that, let me explain what else was exposed. After LeBron James gets hurt and misses 18 games, meanwhile, his team, his surrounding and supporting cast, which is a mixture of young guys and veterans, go 6-12 during his absence. Really? They couldn't even maintain a 500% percentage. Would have been nice if they had gone 9-9. 9-9 would have been okay. 6-12. Okay, so we got an aging superstar who just suffered a groin injury and missed 18 games. He ain't Iron Man no more. Oh my God, we don't have Iron Man LeBron James. We have an aging LeBron James. And we have a supporting cast that can only go 6-12 while he's gone. LeBron and the front office looking at this got desperate. So you know what they do? Now there's this desperate push for some help. Oh my God, we got to get some help. Oh my God, we got to get some help. Now the window looks smaller because even though the man has signed a 4-year deal, do we really have 4 deals? 4 years? Are we really working with 4 years? I gotta be honest with you all. It wouldn't shock me or surprise me if they don't sign an all-star free agent during the offseason. It wouldn't shock me at all to see LeBron retire after the 2nd year in LA. That wouldn't surprise me or shock me at all. Because I already see the handwriting on the wall. I see the physical and mental and emotional fatigue setting in. If they don't get him a superstar, I can see to play with him and put that, in other words, if they can't get the LeBron James system instituted real soon, I can see LeBron throwing in the towel, shutting it down, calling it a career. I can see that. All right. And so I see somebody coming in, but I'm gonna keep this video going while because I want to finish this. What is it? Oh, it's almost 4:30. Okay. What's the next one? Oh, hold on for a minute. Okay. All right. Trying to finish this up before I move on with my day here. All right. Let's see. All right. So we talked about management getting desperate. Here is the other problem with going after AD, with going after Anthony Davis. They allowed this to get public. It would have been one thing if they had kept this secret, kept this quiet, kept this under wraps. They let this get public. Everybody and their mama knew that everybody except LeBron could be traded in exchange for Anthony Davis. In everybody, including his teammates, Lonzo Ball knew, Brandon Ingram knew, Kyle Kuzma knew, everybody, Rondo knew. Everybody and their mama knew that they could be shipped off somewhere for Anthony Davis. I think at some point there, in one game, I forget which game it was, I think while JaVale McGee was at the free throw line trying to make free throws, some of the fans were heckling at him, telling him, "You ain't worth trading. you ain't even worth trading. You ain't got to worry about it." I mean, come on now. So by the time LeBron James got back from his injury, The chemistry was all messed up. Emotions and mentalities were rattled. And the team has yet to recover from it. Just threw the chemistry off. And the other thing is LeBron James, when he came back, was not 100%. He was not completely conditioned. I don't think he was still injured. I just think his conditioning was off, and his groin still ain't quite the same, although you cannot make the argument that he's still hurt when he dunks like he dunks. When you can still get up there and do that, you ain't that hurt. But we can make the argument that his conditioning is still off. Okay. Now, one other thing that's being exposed, what's being exposed is, I remember listening to Colin Cowherd when he was talking about various different NBA stars and their weaknesses. He said LeBron James has no weaknesses in his game. The only weakness he has is he doesn't respect coaching authority. Okay. He has a tendency to get coaches fired rather than build them up. You know, Michael Jordan built Phil Jackson up. You know, Phil Jackson wasn't no great coach before he started coaching Mike and Kobe. Okay. Phil Jackson became great because Mike was willing to work with him. Greg Popovich wasn't no great coach before he started coaching the Spurs. He became great because David Robinson and Tim Duncan was willing to work with him. That's why those coaches became great. Okay? LeBron James is not willing to at least he has not demonstrated the willingness to be willing to work with a new coach and make him great, help him to become great. So Colin was saying that the problem with LeBron, and the only weakness he has, is the fact that he tends to rebel against coaching authority. I would argue that that might be one. That ain't his only one. I already told you that one of his weaknesses on offense is that he's never developed a solid mid-range game and post-up game, and he's a weak free throw shooter. The other weakness in LeBron James' game is he's not as mentally tough as, say, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, or even Kobe Bryant. I'm not saying he's totally psychologically weak. I'm saying he's not as tough as those guys. You saw it in the finals last season when in game 1, he had a chance to will his team to a game 1 victory. And instead, he let J.R. Smith's mistake down the stretch cause him to throw a fit, a tantrum, roll up in a fetal position, put his thumb in his mouth, and start crying. And as a result, they lost game 1 and got swept out of the finals after that. LeBron James has the tendency, listen to me, he's demonstrated time and time again the tendency that when he believes or senses or thinks that his team is not good enough to win, he will psychologically and mentally, even if he can't do it physically, he's already demonstrated that he'll do it physically if he can. But even if he can't do it physically, he's demonstrated time and time again that he will pack it in, give up, call it a day, and check out mentally and emotionally. He'll just throw in the towel and give up. And it shows in his body language. It shows in his effort on defense. It shows. It shows. And so that's the other weakness, and that's being demonstrated. It's being demonstrated to Laker fans. It's being demonstrated to everybody who's got eyes to see and watch. LeBron James has even though they are not mathematically out of the playoffs yet, LeBron James has already in his mind and psychologically went on vacation, and he's already shooting Space Jam. Already. Because at this point, he doesn't believe his team is good enough to win. He doesn't believe they can make it to the playoffs. He knows they're not good enough to beat Golden State. And so he's already given up. Would Michael Jordan do that? Would Kobe Bryant do that? LeBron James has done that. And it's being displayed for the world to see, including Laker fans. These are the things that's being exposed. Now, I put it like this. Laker fans, when it was learned that LeBron was coming to LA, Laker fans, Los Angeles, they